In our last episode, Mohala na Pualei Ahaloa, Farming in Kahana with Alapakiluk, we traveled to the Ko'olauloa Moku to one of the wettest ahupua'a on the island of Oahu. We saw how lush and green things are there and why Kahana is a perfect place for sustainable farming. We hope you enjoyed your huaka'i, your field trip to Kahana. Today we launched ʻOno ʻāina, making ʻUala cheesecake, on the most celebrated holiday of the Hawaiian Kingdom. La Ho'iho'i Ea, or the Day of Restoration holiday, is one of the two major celebrated days in Hawai'i. La Ho'iho'i Ea commemorates the historical return of the control of the Hawaiian government from the British Crown and celebrates the capacity of the people in Hawaii. For more information about La Ho'iho'i Ea, see the links in this module for historical and contemporary details. Today for our pule, we'll do a breathing exercise like we did last time. When I say hanu, you will take a deep breath in, hold it for a little bit. And when I say haloa, you'll breathe out, releasing all of that air, and then we'll do this 3 times. Let's begin. Hanu. Ha, loa, breathe out, connecting us to the past. Hanu. Ha, loa, breathe out, connect us to the present. Hanu. Ha, loa, breathe out, connect us to the possibilities. Mahalo.
Aloha mai kākou. Mahalo nui for joining us once again for this module. The Hawaiian word for this module is ho'iho'i. E ho'opili mai, ho'iho'i. Mai ka'ino. Ho'iho'i means to return an item, such as returning a book to the library or putting dishes back into a cupboard. It can also mean to send back, such as a piece of mail in the post. Or it can also mean to restore, such as La Ho'iho'i Ea, or Hawaiian Sovereignty Restoration Day. Let's say that phrase together. La Ho'iho'i Ea. Now let's put it together. La Ho'iho'i Ea. The La means day. Ho'iho'i, we just learned. And Ea means sovereignty, but can also mean breath, life, or spirit. La Ho'iho'i Ea is celebrated every year on July 31st. And we'll learn more about this important holiday throughout this series. As you think about this term ho'iho'i, I want you to also think about how you will ho'iho'i ea, or how you will constantly be restoring your ea, breath, life, or spirit in this upcoming semester. Until next time, ahui ho kako. Mahalo.
ʻUala, or sweet potatoes, were an important part of Hawaiian culture, second in importance to kalo. Hawaiians grew up to 230 different types of ʻUala that came in a variety of shapes and colors. The flesh and skin come in a range of colors from white to yellow, orange, pink, purple, and even some mixture of colors. Uhi, or yams, were also popular in ancient times, grown in large quantities on the island of Ni'ihau and known for its longevity. Although it is a relative of the sweet potato and taro root, the purple ube is actually an uhi, or yam. Known for its vibrant purple color and nutty flavor, and oftentimes mistook for Hawaiian or Okinawan sweet potato, ube can be seen being used in many local dishes and desserts. Today we'll be making an ube, or uhi ʻUala cheesecake with kalani flores. Enjoy!
There's various different types of ways you can make ube cheesecake. You can actually get the ube itself. Frida.com has a great resource that she refers to as ube or not ube. And a lot of people mistake it for the purple sweet potato. In Hawaii, you mostly see the purple Okinawan sweet potato, or you have another, the purple sweet potato itself. those are not ube or yams. Those are actual potatoes. So we'll be sure to post up a great resource on our video to go over the difference between the tubers and between what is a yam and a sweet potato itself. So instead, you can utilize ube extract, which is what I'm going to utilize today. People also can purchase the powdered ube, see purple yam, or they also have ube gel. Okay, so now we're going to get ready to make our crust. So we're going to start with a crust for our cheesecake. And it's a simple crust. You need graham crackers. I like to use coconut graham crackers. And so I use about 16 of these rectangles. And I break it up and I put it right into a bowl. About 3 tablespoons of white granulated sugar, as well as 6 tablespoons of unsalted butter, melted. So I'm going to pop this in the microwave to get it melted, and I'm going to start making crumbs with the coconut graham crackers. Now additionally, you're also going to need a 9-inch spring form pan. Here's your spring so that the bottom can come out. Okay. Some cooking spray, as well as tin foil. Now, ahead of time, I'm just gonna spray our tin foil, our spring pan. Just get it nice and coated. The bottom and the sides, just as such. Then place this inside of the tin foil. And the tin foil is very important because we are making a baked cheesecake and not a non-baked cheesecake, and this is going to require a water bath. Bringing the sides up and securing it. Just like that, and we're going to set this on the side until we're done with our crust. We're going to take our coconut graham crackers and place it into our food processor. If you don't have a food processor, you can use a blender, or you can do old style, put your crackers into a double Ziploc bag and use some kind of either a bowl or a coffee mug and smash at it. So, you know, if you're having a stressful day and you want to take out some unnecessary energy, or take off some energy, you can go ahead and do that. But I always like to say, when you're cooking, we always want to make sure that we have positive energies, because remember now that same energy is going into our cooking and people are going to eat that. So that's just another Hawaiian train of thought, that we always make sure that we have good feelings when we're cooking, because we don't want that negativity or any type of unnecessary bad energy to go and transfer over to somebody else. Okay, so we're just gonna pulse a couple of times, get the big pieces going. Okay, and then turn it on. Okie dokies. So once we get our graham crackers to the consistency that we want, take out our container, and here's your crumbs that you want. Now you're going to take your crumbs, place it into a mixing bowl, and such. It's nice and crumbly. That's how you want it. You don't want too big pieces inside. So that's a good consistency. Then you're going to take your 3 tablespoons of white granulated sugar. Just pour it right in. Mix it all around. Then our 6 tablespoons of unsalted butter melted. We pour it right in. I like to microwave it in this glass measuring cup because it has a nice spout for when you pour it in. And you always want to microwave things in glass or something that's not plastic. And once you pour in your butter, mix your crumbs and your sugar around with the butter. Make sure you get everything at the bottom and on the sides. Get that butter nicely incorporated into your dry ingredients. Then we're going to take our pan again, and then we're just going to pour our crust mixture right into the bottom of our 9-inch spring foam pan that we sprayed with cooking spray. And then we're just going to evenly spread it out on the bottom. Now prior to this, you want to make sure that you have your oven preheated at 325 degrees. So now that we got our crust in, it's going to take about, like I said, 15 to 20 minutes. And in that time, that's how long it should take to prepare our cheesecake batter. So let's start with our sugar. Cheesecake batter calls for a cup. About a cup. And 1/3 of a cup of sugar. A half a teaspoon of salt. And you just mix it around. And we're going to set that on the side. Now, utilizing our KitchenAid mixer. In our mixer, we're going to take 3 packs of cream cheese at room temperature. A lot of times when you're making cheesecake, you want to use the full fat and not the low fat or non-fat cheesecake. When it comes to baking, a lot of people say that it just doesn't bake well. So you want the full fat cream cheese. So we're going to take that and we're going to set it to on medium and let it mix around for about a minute. Okay. So now it's been about a minute, so I'm going to take it off. And we're going to scrape our sides. Also the bottom, because sometimes there's some things that doesn't mix, that's always at the bottom. And now what we're going to do is that we are going to add our sugar and salt mixture, but we're going to do this in parts. So we're going to break this up in thirds. 1/3 of the sugar in, put it back on, and you're going to mix it for another minute. Now this process is so that we can ensure the sugar is incorporated into the cream cheese. That should be good for now. Scraping our sides. We're going to add another 1/3 of our sugar into the bowl. Again, this process is to ensure the sugar is well incorporated into our cheesecake batter. And we're going to repeat this process after this one more time. So now it's about another minute as well. Making sure you get the bottom of the mixture. Then we're going to incorporate our last 1/3. Lock and load it and mix on medium for about another minute again. Okay, so that's about a minute. So our crust is just about done. Okay, so it will take about 15 to 20 minutes to cool down. If you're in a rush, you can of course take it, put it in front of a fan, and let that cool down much more faster. However, it needs to cool before you can add the batter inside of it, because you want the crust to set. Here is when we incorporate the flavor. We're going to use extract. Now I like to use the butterfly brand ube extract, because in various different sizes. You can get this at your local Asian stores. There's also a McCormick, or you can go online. I like to use about a tablespoon of the ube. I like a nice, good, rich ube flavor. As you can see, it's nice and thick, and it's a very deep purple. We're going to add a teaspoon of pure vanilla extract. And you're going to mix this for about a minute as well, on medium. So that's well incorporated. So this is where once you get you have your vanilla and your ube mixture in here and it's blended, it's mixed in nicely. You're going to take a clean spoon, just take a little bit off, and this is what you're going to taste to see if you want to add any more of the ube flavoring. Now some people like a subtle flavor, some people like that a nice deep rich ube flavor. For myself, I love that ube flavoring, so oftentimes if I do need to add, I'll add half a tablespoon more. So let's try that. Nice. The reason why we want to take the time now to test the flavoring is because after this we're going to be adding the eggs into the mixture, because we need the eggs to help keep the cheesecake together while it's baking. And so they always say, you know, it's not good to eat raw eggs, so that's why we want to go ahead and do that. So the recipe calls for 5 large eggs, and I have fresh eggs here that I have from my chickens that I have. So what we're going to do, we're just going to mix in 3 eggs first. Now I bring my eggs to room temperature. I just leave it on the side. And we're gonna mix that, lock and load. And adding your last 2 eggs. Lock and load. Mix to ensure everything is incorporated. I'm scraping up the sides, ensuring that we got everything on the bottom. Looking at the consistency. Mainly when people are making your typical like New York cheesecake, they would add about a cup of sour cream into it. I don't add sour cream because sour cream gives your cheesecake that nice tangy. If you like tangy, that's fine. Because I like a more creamier, rich ube flavored cheesecake, I just add a cup of heavy cream or heavy whipping cream. And you're gonna mix that around for another, just about a minute. Here we have a nice, beautiful purple batter. Now we're going to take our crust that has been cooling on the side, and we're going to pour our cheesecake batter directly into our crust. Making sure that we scrape the bowl, get as much as that batter that we can. When we bake this, we're going to bake it utilizing what we refer to as a water bath. A lot of people like to use the water bath because it helps to not just cook it nice and evenly, but most of them they're concerned about the cheesecake cracking on the top. And so offering a water bath helps it to keep its consistency or keep it together while it's baking. You're going to take another pan that you can fit your 9-inch foam cheesecake pan inside. And you're just going to take it take your cheesecake and put it directly into the pan as such. I had about 2 liters of hot water boiling. So you just go ahead and pour into the pan, not into the cheesecake now, but into the pan. That's about 2 liters of hot water. So as you can see, the hot water is about halfway up your pan, and that's what you want. And then you're going to take your pan and place it directly into your 325 degree preheated oven. And the cheesecake needs to cook for about an hour and a half. So now the cheesecake should have sat in the refrigerator for at least 8 hours. I leave it overnight, and I just scrape the sides lightly. We use the cooking spray to help things not stick as much, but just to ensure that it stays nice and clean, I just run the knife all the way around, and so take off your pan, and it should come right out just as so. Then it's going to take the knife and just run it under the bottom, to loosen it up. Again, it's been sitting in the refrigerator, so should be able to transfer our cheesecake right to our plate. And now we're ready to make our topping. I like to make a haupia topping, and all we're going to be using is coconut milk, some cornstarch, and sugar. Very simple. Pour in my coconut milk, 2 tablespoons of sugar, the cornstarch, 2 tablespoons of that. Mix it all around. About medium high. Okay. Keep stirring this around. You don't want your cornstarch to kind of settle in there. You just want to keep making sure everything is nice and mixed. Once it starts to come to a simmer, the mixture will start to thicken because of the cornstarch. This process takes about 3 to 5 minutes. As it starts to simmer, you can see that it starts to thickening up on the side. Now again, you want to continue to stir the mixture. You don't want things to clump up. The cheesecake, because it just came out of the refrigerator, it's still very nice and cold. It's been in overnight, so I'm just going to take the hot mixture, the haupia, and we'll pour it right in the center. Get the conversion effect, the hot and cold. And the coldness of the cheesecake will help the haupia to settle even more. Right on top. Then you just take your spatula. You slowly move your haupia mixture to the end. You can see the clouds rising from the cold of the cheesecake and the heat of the haupia. Now, for those of you guys who like to get fancy, you can do a haupia drizzle or waterfall effect. And you have your haupia topping on top of your cheesecake. Now you can let it sit for about 5 minutes as it cools from the bottom, and you can put it back in the refrigerator for another 15 to 20 minutes, and it should be ready to serve. There you have it, your Ube Cheesecake. Enjoy.
Mahalo Kalani for opening your home to us and sharing this amazing recipe. We now have a contemporary recipe for ʻUala, and hopefully we will hoʻi return to this recipe and try it out on our family and friends. For the home play in this module, we'll be utilizing Flipgrid. Please see the topic entitled Home Play in this module for further instructions. And as we close our summer series, I want to thank you for participating. It has truly been a learning experience on all levels. Mahalo that you've taken time to care for yourself and learn something about ʻāina and practices in Hawai'i. You, educators, whether in classrooms, student support, or administration, are equally important to the educational ecosystem. When you are well, then all things around you will be well, and our students will be well. Let's take care of each other and show aloha through our actions. We look forward to seeing you all in future professional learning experiences offered by Hulili Kekukui's Kūkalahale grant. E pule kako, let's close with a short prayer. Kia kua as we come to the end of our time together, and we mahalo you for what has been accomplished. May what we discuss serve as a catalyst to move us forward and cause us to advance and seek growth in all areas of our lives. Kia kua o oi kamana o i'o, kamana o lana, a me kia aloha pa ole. Amene. Aloha and a hui ho.